What is up, everybody? Back again with another review over Deathstroke, which is another figure from the dcMcfarlane line that they've started. And to just show off the box even further, here's the front view of the figure that he'll look like. I guess that's kind of uncomfortable position with how his foot is, but you know, he's going to be free from that pain and suffering. And it's like every other box, and what their signature is 22 moving parts, so that's nice to know. And then on the side, just being able to see the Deathstroke from DC Rebirth on the side as well, with the DC Multiverse logo. And then here's the nice back of the box, which matches the card. And if you tell me, this is probably one of the nicest I've done so far. I think this is probably the coolest back, or at least card design, that I will have. I just really like the red lightning strikes, the red eye, and then just, you know, it shows violence because of blood. At least I'm assuming that's blood, not Kool-Aid, because, I mean, let's get real. We got to show violence for a violent character like Deathstroke. And then at the top, once again, just the window, being able to see from the top view. And at the side, once again, just seeing the Deathstroke on the side, DC Multiverse, and McFarlanetoys at the bottom. Forgot that part, but we all already know who it's made by. And with that being said, let me open up the figure and be able to show what's inside of it and what you all get. Let's start with the least exciting parts of the figure, or I guess what it comes with. So as you can see, comes with a little knife for Deathstroke. And then the second weapon, which is the last weapon that he comes with, is a long sword. I don't know what specific sword this is, because it looks like it's special, or maybe it's just his in general. But once again, I can't keep up with all the comics out there and all the knowledge, movies, and media about him. So that being said, yeah, you get an extra long sword for him, since pretty sure he is like a mercenary from one show I've watched, and he's basically hired. So basically, you think of Star Wars and bounty hunters as basically what he is. But yeah, and then here's the card that matches the box art that you see at the back. Once again, Deathstroke, his name. And just like I do in every other video, is to read up more about the figure or character in general, and to help out people who may be like myself and when reading or trying to know about all this. Well, his real name is Slade Wilson, aka, fun fact, honestly, growing up as a kid and watching Teen Titans, I didn't realize that Slade was like, had a connection and was eventually turned into Deathstroke. I did not know that. But yeah, just like a couple months ago, I came to realization, and I was like, well, they both have the same gear. I'm like, they have to be related. And I looked it up, and sure enough, yeah, he is Deathstroke. So at the end of the day, Slade Wilson is a mercenary and assassin for hire with no qualms about crossing lines to get the job done. No matter where those lines are drawn, a formidable operative for the U.S. military, Colonel Slade Wilson, agreed to undergo an experimental process that increased his mental and physical abilities to superhuman levels. Rather than continue his career as a soldier, Slade became the masked mercenary Deathstroke. His decision resulted in his wife leaving him and his son Joseph being permanently injured, as well as the death of his son Grant, who sought to emulate Slade. Sorry, I struggled there. But yeah, that's more about him. And yeah, I did watch this one kind of like cartoon movie about him. So actually, I did know a decent amount about him in general. So that's pretty cool to know, although he had and wore some different stuff in that show. And then, as we all know, every figure comes with a display stand. In this case, the DC plain one with one peg. Once again, I wish it was two and a little larger to fit both the feet. But anyways, there's that. And the more exciting part, the figure himself. So this is Deathstroke. And just telling off the bat, I actually like the paint job as well. You really, yeah, he has that really nice, like, intimidating look on his mask right there on this side. Especially since, well, the side's blacked out. That's how it's supposed to be. But anyways, yeah, it looks very nice and intimidating, as all supervillains should look, instead of looking like creeps or whatever. But anyways, yeah, you have his, I guess, utility belt, as you can say. And yeah, if you're a texture guy like myself, definitely it's all around, like here on the legs, here on his, I guess, upper torso area or chest. And there's all around just nice texture all around. And honestly, I don't think there's anything really wrong with the paint job. Obviously, it's going to differ between figures, but yeah, that's how mine looks. And just start off the bat, not really a fan that's kind of like exposed. There's usually like these, yeah, this area right here, it's supposed to like cover it up certain point, but some reason, actually right there, it's better. But this side, I don't know what's going on. I think it's more rubber, because this isn't really coming out. Actually, there, wait. Slowly but surely. Okay. Yeah, there. Kind of covering it up, I guess. But then you move it, goes back in. So trying to hide those as much as possible. Start with the head movement. Can you do a 360? That's what I'll try to show you. It's kind of more tougher than the other figures, I've realized. It's like, yeah, it's a little tough to get him to rotate 360. But yeah, you can do it. It just seems very, very tense compared to most figures. So yeah, that's what I realized. And then just starting with the torso, yeah, you can bend back a little bit, bend forward. It's probably like one of the figures that actually can do that on without it being like kind of cut off. And then with the arms, as you saw, rotate it 360, no problem. Once again, I'm just going to do one arm. Should be the same on both sides. Then here, the elbows, you can go this far. The wrist, can you do a 360? Let me see. Yes, it can. Can it rotate? Let me see here. Yep. It's the furthest it can really go up. Going down, on the other hand, don't want to break it. It's probably the furthest it will go down, based on what it seems. Let me try to cover these butterfly joints up. Okay, there we go. Then moving legs. Oh man, I just hate this. I don't like taking the risk, it breaks. But yeah, looks like I can do 360, which is nice. Probably one of the first figures that I can actually do with that for. Can you do the splits? I would hope so, since he's an assassin. Yes, he can. However, I think this is the furthest he can go at the end of the day. So, I mean, not the most flexible out of the figures I've done so far. Then for his knees, he can bend about this much. And put it back in place. Yep, once again. And his foot, he will do a 360. Bend back about this much. Raise up about this much. And then, as all have, his toe can go like that. Then yeah, just to go on with the rest of the figure. Overall, I'd say pretty flexible. But also, he has this little holder for his sword, or wherever you want to call it. And then he also has another placeholder or place you can store the sword. Here at the bottom, that's more for the knife, and then the back is the sword, I would say. But yeah, that being said, I'm gonna put him in a pose and then give my final thoughts. Pretty darn good. Paint is pretty, the paint applications are very good as well. The flexibility is pretty decent. Maybe just the butterfly joints and the fact that, I mean, at least I struggle trying to get his weapons in, so therefore I just put him like that. But at least he has a back spot to hold the weapon. And then I put the knife, of course, on his little leg area or leg slot, so you can put the knife into. So overall, I think that's pretty great. Although even though he's like that, it kind of makes you question if they did that because they know he can't really fit the weapons in his hands very well. But at the end of the day, there's probably a way. I just didn't feel like taking 15 minutes trying to get them in his hands, but I'm fine with this pose. Yeah, if I were to make any deductions, it would be the fact that his hands can't really hold the weapons well. At least not that I could figure out in a, minimal time frame. Maybe his, the joints being kind of exposed at a certain point. And then, yeah, there's some I forgot what area it was that his articulation. Oh, his hands. Yeah, their articulation wasn't great, and you would think they would be able to bend back more than they do. But he is more flexible than the other figures I've reviewed so far. So with that being said, overall, I think he's a pretty good figure. Just those deductions, and probably if I were to give him score, I would say 9.4 out of 10. Mainly because, yeah, the weapons, there's probably a way, so I can't really deduct it fully. And also just the fact that the joints and the flexibility, I guess, is not the worst case scenario. But yeah, I do enjoy the fact he does have two weapons. And yeah, this figure really could have changeable hands if, the hands can't exactly hold it, and that is true. That would have been nice to include hands that could actually hold the weapon. But overall, I really like this figure, and I highly recommend it. With that being said, I'll see you in the next review video, and until then, have a great one, and I'll see you then. Bye.